battle the craziness of Zoom meetings after Zoom meetings after Zoom meetings. Even after the most extroverted among us will feel the toll. How do we refresh ourselves and stay engaged without going crazy? And I really need to hear this, Jaymes. He's a professional speaker, facilitator, and coach. Jaymes O'Pheron will be discussing some of the underlying causes of Zoom burnout and how we can combat it. Let's give Jaymes a warm, nerdy welcome to our virtual Zoom lectern to discuss conquering Zoom burnout. Please inform us.
Oh my goodness. Zoom, don't we all love it? Well, I personally do, honestly, because I get to actually hang out with all of you. My house is completely empty right now because my wife is away at a Bible study group, and I would be bored. Well, I wouldn't be. I would be reading a book. But there are so many people that I have gotten to know. We have people from all over the world on a regular basis coming to Toastmasters, coming to our meetings, and just having a blast and a ton of fun. But not every Zoom meeting is as exciting or as engaging as a Nerd Masters meeting, unfortunately. After these meetings, I come away energized, engaged, impassioned, inspired, and I can't wait to the next one. Some other meetings, yeah, there's other meetings. This brought me, Toastmasters, friends, guests, Nerd Masters, to the question of what makes a difference? What makes a difference between those Zoom meetings that you are excited to be a part of, you're engaged every moment, and you go away afterwards, energized, hyped, just bouncing, walking on cloud nine, and those other ones that make you feel like you're drinking acid and you want to crawl your skin off and want to escape. It's just so horrible. You can't wait to get away. And then I remembered, before all of this, there were times when I would be talking with somebody that I legitimately liked, somebody that I had fun with, I normally enjoyed talking to, but there would be times when they might start talking for a very long time about a thing that is not particularly interesting to me. And normally I'm interested in pretty much everything, so that's pretty impressive. But I felt fundamentally disconnected from them. And I couldn't wait to get away from that conversation. I felt that, and like, will you shut up, please? And you want to go like sneak away from the conversation. And it felt a lot like Zoom burnout, honestly, in retrospect, because I unfortunately don't have that many times to speak in person with people nowadays because of lockdowns and such, but there's a lot of similarities. So I thought about what really makes a difference. And there's two things that I came up with that really define the difference for me between a authentic, engaging, inspiring meeting or the kind that makes you want to pull your skin off. The first one is relationality. Relationality, the presence of a relationship that exists between you and the other person. See, if you are disconnected from them, if you are not valuing the other person on a two-way street with each person and relating to each other as full humans, that generates stress. If you don't feel valued by the other person, you feel alienated, you feel isolated, and that generates stress. The answer tends to be for us to, in response, dehumanize the other person. We distance ourselves, we put up walls, and we block ourselves away. We shut off, and the person realizes that they don't actually care, that we don't actually care what they're talking about, and we end up drifting away and like, oh, I'm glad I escaped that conversation. In Zoom, though, we're kind of trapped. And so as we disconnect, that brings all the focus onto the annoyances. As we lose our ability to be actively interested and engaged, it turns the other person into an unwelcome guest. And they're in your house. which generates more stress because you can't escape. You walk to the other side of the room, you still hear it going. You turn off your camera and you're like, they're still talking. And there's a person who's like sitting in your house that you're trying to get out of your house, but they never stop talking or eating your fruitcake. It's so annoying. The answer, though, is not to hide. The answer is to lean into the relationality. Realize that those are real people over there that you care about or could care about if you choose to. You lean into the conversation, become actively more interested and engaged with what they have to say, and suddenly energy returns. They value you more because you are valuing them more. You create more of a relationship that's there, and suddenly energy blooms. That's something we can do during the meeting. Something else to deal with, the second thing that I thought of that really helps dealing with Zoom burnout is embodiment. Embodiment. Just saying that right now, suddenly I'm sure every one of you here is now slightly more aware of your body. A bit ago, we were all engaged, hopefully, in what I was saying and thinking about the conversation and talking about ideas and people that are over there through this vague digital screen, this portal to another time and place that doesn't actually exist in any one of the places that we're at. We're engaged in this idea and we forget about our toes. We forget about our presence. We forget that we have a body oftentimes. And we may lapse into this forgetfulness and lose track of ourselves. And so as we're switching from one thing to another, there's this jarring context switch that is challenging for our psyche to handle. So one thing that I've done when I have lots of meetings, particularly back to back, going from place to place to place, and I feel like I'm being jerked all over the cosmos, in between, I stop. I quiet. I'm an extrovert. I like noise, I like music, I like talking to people, I like all this. But even extroverts need solitude. We need to recharge. And so intentionally stopping. Not just rolling our shoulders going, okay, and on to the next one. It's like, no, stop. Let there be silence. Rest. Relax the muscles in your face. Be aware of the muscles. Even an authentic, genuine smile uses lots of muscles. We need to relax those. Let them rest. Be quiet. Ground yourself in your physicality. You are a person. You are a human. And rest in that. This anchors us. It brings us back to center. It reminds us of who we are so that we can then have a solid foundation from whence to then launch back out into the cosmos and reconnect with all these people from all over the world. This acts as a sense of detox. It allows us to de-stress. It allows us, even if it's for a brief moment, to encounter solitude and recharge. Some of us aren't very comfortable with solitude in that sense, but it is an exercise that we need to be intentional about. Even in all of the chaos and the craziness of the challenging environment that we're in, we're being forced to isolate. We need to recognize that even in isolation, we need solitude, which is a much more intentional thing. Something that is healing and relaxing and de-stressing. So in between the different meetings where I have been relational and engaged, I practice embodiment. I focus myself, I center myself. But fundamentally, the thing I want each of us to remember, that's the most important thing for understanding the problem behind Zoom burnout and the solution to it, is that we are all human. Every single person on the other side of this screen is a human, complete, real, tangible, even if I can't touch them. Even I can't give you a hug, you're still a real person who deserves one. And so remembering that and embracing it helps to heal the stress that arises from the disembodiment that happens in Zoom. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Game over.